Welcome back to the channel, folks. This is Shane, and this is another episode of Keys to the Guitar Shop featuring our resident bass player, Dr. Rick.
Why not? We thought we might mix it up a bit and just go for the power trio, power blues trio, and I tell you what, it was more fun than we could have anticipated.
So big thanks to Squier Music for letting us do this. They literally give us the key to the guitar wall and say, play whatever you like. This video is not sponsored. We don't get to keep any of the stuff, nor do they paint. No, unfortunately. I want a couple of those amps we got to test though. But yeah, it's not sponsored, so we just do this because it's a whole lot of fun. So we kind of split this up into two separate sections. The first section, Dr. Rick jumped on the bass.
Yeah, very happy to be anchoring the low end. Yes, 1960s relic jazz bass. And look, loaded with vibe, awkward as all get out to play with those, the huge bridge cover and the pickup cover in the middle. So hard to know where to put your hands, and you can see probably through the video that I sometimes go between the covers and then to the front, but you know what, I would put up with that because it just looks just ridiculously cool.
So pretty much I've decided to pick a whole lot of different guitar amps, some stuff that I wasn't sure if it could work in a live context, and kind of did, and some other stuff that was pretty hilarious. So we're going to start with the Fender Deluxe Reverb Tone Master amplifier, which has been a huge request. I always get asked, how well does this go in a live mix? And it's one of the amps that I hadn't tested in a live mix. I've owned the Tone Master Twin, and that was plenty loud. And I got to tell you, I actually enjoyed the tone of this more than I thought I would.
Yeah,
it
definitely.
Sounded really cool. So overall, I really dug the tones. It handled my pedal board no problems at all. I was going from a mix of the Royal Flush dual overdrive pedal and the Nordvang Gravity, which is like a tube screamer and a clon. And I played clean in that clip as well, and I really feel like it handled all of it, and it was plenty loud. And I should also point out, Rick said crank it up on the full watts, turn up to about 5.5. It sounded so loud, I actually clicked it back once. So
did you?
I did. I couldn't do it.
Sacrilege, come on.
Yeah, it was just too loud. I know you would have got away with it.
Yeah.
I was too self-conscious.
I think these Fender Tone Master amps, you have to work the speakers. You know, it sort of helps them to overcome their Class D digital kind of heritage. If you get the speaker working, and I'm sure as the speaker breaks in, it will become even more sort of warm. But yeah, I was really impressed with the mids. The tops weren't sort of piercing. Often, I don't even know if they've modelled the bright cap or not in a Deluxe Reverb, but it was there was plenty of mids and plenty of strats at a spank. So I was really shocked and pleasantly surprised.
Being that I was enjoying the ToneMaster Deluxe Reverb as much as I did on the first set, I thought I'd try it again on this next one using the Squier Affinity Stratocaster, which is one of the least expensive ones out there. And the reason I chose this one, I've been listening to Jack Pearson again, who plays pretty much the cheapest Strat you can buy, and he makes it cook. So it was a challenge.
It sounds like $1 million, and folks, you're in store for a bit of a treat, because this thing sounds unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like, why did I buy mine? No, they do play differently, but this sounds pretty cool. Let's take a listen. I was pretty shocked at just how great this thing sounded, man. I was in the zone. I wasn't even thinking about the guitar. It played great and it sounded great. I mean, I know you were on the bass again for this one, but what do you think of the tones compared to the first lot?
It was incredible, you know. I kept looking at it thinking, no, that's a Squier. Why isn't it going out of tune? Or why isn't the pickup squealing or doing something? It was just crazy if you just listen. And obviously it felt good because you were flying around.
It was awesome. It was so good to play. Yeah. There didn't feel like there was much of a sacrifice other than the switch on the pickup selection wasn't as good as the one I'm used to. And the neck shape was different. There was a few other like cosmetic things, but tone and playability, it was awesome. And it goes to show, less expensive guitar and a good amplifier with or without effects gets you pretty great tones.
Well, you know what? Jack Pearson, you can't argue with him.
Yeah, he's
it's
the
good
man.
enough for him. You know, and our very own, gosh, what's his name again?
Ray Beadle.
Ray Beadle.
Yeah, yeah.
Folks, tune into him. We probably should put some links to him somewhere. But
I'll link it up.
The way he gets amazing sounds out of Squiers. Again, this certified Fender custom shop cork sniffer has just got schooled because it was amazing. And look, you know, Fender guitar and a Fender amp, who knew that it would sound good? Of course, it sounds great, and probably the pedal board as well. And yeah, there's some great sounds out of both the Royal Flush and the Newell Van Gravity. It was just single coil heaven.
Up next, we're checking out the Marshall MG30 GFX, which is a 30-watt digital modeling amplifier, or solid-state amp with digital effects, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually reviewed this years ago, and I really liked it. It's just, you can plug and play into it, but I thought, is it loud enough to jam with?
Yeah.
It sounds pretty awesome. But I think the trick to getting this to sound half decent is to crank it up on the clean channel and run some external effects, which is what I did in this clip. So
Yeah.
yeah, take a listen. I'm using my 52 reissue Telecaster with the Joe Biden pickups.
Yep.
Not Joe Biden. What? Why? Let's take a look. So that was probably one of the biggest surprises of all of these sessions for me, was how great this amp sounded. And I actually did some clean sections without any effects, and it felt so good. You see me at the start of the playing like, what? I'm listening thinking it shouldn't sound as good as it did.
Because we had to fiddle around with it to turn off all the sort of built-in sort of cheeseoid digital effects.
Yeah.
But once you just got to the clean platform, gosh, it took the pedal so well and responded well to your picking attack and dynamics, and a real surprise packet.
And while this was mic'd up, you might be thinking, how loud is it in the room? We're watching this back right now just with the camera microphone, and it's plenty loud. In the room, it sounded way louder than I thought. So I think this would be a great amp for jamming with friends or doing maybe low volume gigs where there's not a big stage and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think so. As long as you've got a drummer and a bass player who aren't, you know, smashing the bejeebers out of their instruments, it was great. And because, you know, anyone can play loud, any idiot can play loud, but to be able to sort of play loud but then go quiet, and all points in between, I mean, that's an enjoyable musical experience for me. If you just go flat out all night, it's just fatiguing. But no, it was great, and it hung in there for the loud bits and cleaned up nice for the quieter bits. So no, a real revelation.
Up next, I decided to grab a 1-watt valve/tube amp, and this is the Marshall DSL 1C.
What were you thinking? 1 watt? Come on!
So this doesn't really have a whole lot of effects. I think it's a clean channel and their ultra gain channel, and it's got a half power switch on the back, which I had it on before we started and I couldn't hear anything, and then I clicked it to 1 watt and all of a sudden it gave me a bit more. So this is literally the amp on all the way up in terms of its volume, and all of my pedals trying to make it loud enough to hear in the mix, but it still sounds pretty cool in its own kind of unique way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so in the mix, it was weird going from an amp I could hear really clearly in that solid state one over to this one, which was fun before we got loud, and then it just disappeared. I was playing blind.
No, I was wondering how you were going, because I could hear this sort of little mosquito buzzing in the corner. I thought that must be it, but no, clearly this is not really a gigging amp, but certainly recording. It's great. And I think you'll hear, with the mic'd up tone that that's where it is, and it's a great tone. I thought it sounded really good.
Yeah, I think what you'll end up hearing on the video is different to the room sound that we would have heard on the night. So definitely not loud enough to gig with, but a whole lot of fun. And 1 watt is still louder than you think once you kind of crank it all the way up.
No, for sure in the recording studio, be just perfect.
Yeah. All right, so after not being heard in the last one, I figured I'd grab the Boss Katana 100 Mark II, which is the 2x12 one, and man, this was brutally loud. Again, running it the same way. Clean channel with my pedals. That's kind of the theme of this particular section, until we get over to Rick's portion of the video coming up on the next one. But I'm playing the PRS SE Custom 24. This is one of the ones made in Indonesia, and it played and sounded just like my old one. It felt great. Yeah. So yeah, Boss Katana as a clean pedal platform. Super loud. I had it down on 50 watts too. 50.
Yeah.
From 1.
Well, you know what? Welcome back to the room, guys.
Yeah.
But this is a serious amp, and it weighs as much as a valve amp.
So there you have it, that's the PRS SE Custom 24 made in Indonesia going into the Boss Katana amp with my effects, and it was great. I didn't really have to think twice about it. I guess my favorite or most playable guitar out of my collection would be the PRS SE Custom 24 made in Korea. I love it. I think it's a great guitar. The first time I played one of the made in Indonesia ones, I was underwhelmed compared to mine, but this one, I think was probably a year or so later.
Yeah, I think they must have had some finishing or quality control issues. Maybe that first batch, because I agree, it just didn't feel like a PRS.
No, the switches weren't good. The neck sort of felt a bit cheap, and I don't know. But this one I could play all day. It was just, it's like welcome home kind of thing. So if you're wondering whether or not you can use the Boss as a pedal platform, the Katana, not a problem.
For sure, and there's no chance you won't be heard either, because it's plenty loud.
Yeah, it's like the laser beam of death. So Rick bought in his Victoria Regal amplifier and might be looking for a new home, and I thought, I'll give that a shot. I grabbed a Gretsch G612 8T LH, LH for lefty, and this is a Jet, and I read all of that off the website, because how can you remember those names? Just call it something cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, super cool guitar, made in Japan, played beautifully. I didn't really use the tremolo arm at all. Just felt like any sort of great guitar to play. The tones were nice rhythmically, and these pickups totally sung. So let's take a listen. Have it. That was one of the nicest, roundest sounds out of an amp in a long time, and it's got a 15-inch speaker.
Yeah, it does. It does. So it's quite a mellow sound. The top ends are probably a little bit attenuated, but the beauty of the Filtertron is you still get that chirpy pick attack sound. It's great. The Filtertron is a great sort of middle ground between a humbucker and a single coil, and they've just got a great vibe, and they're one of my favourite pickups.
I like how you just gravitated to another custom shop bass.
Well, yeah, look, again, this is a really tough, dirty job, folks, but Shane and I are happy to take one for you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a Fender Custom Shop 51 precision bass. So look at those crazy the pickup cover in the middle and the big bridge cover.
Yeah, it looks something special, this one.
It's crazy. And this one was fitted with flat wound strings. It's kind of got this real kind of rolled off mellow sound. It was great fun to play.
And it was great because it was really light. I remember you said, "Oh, here, feel this," and I just went, "What?"
Yeah, it's light, and the Custom Shop do some weird things as far as the woods they get to build their guitars. They're just really, really light. So it was cool, but no, I thought it was a good match for the Gretsch too. The Gretsch has got this classic vintage sort of 50s sound. Yeah, obviously was pretty easy to play because it was flying around. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, folks. My name's Shane. This is Dr. Rick.
It was great, mate. It was good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back next week where Rick is playing guitar the entire time, and this old lefty southpaw is going to be trying his hand at bass. And massive thanks to Richo on the drums for doing this, and to Sky Music as well. Richo, man,
Fantastic.
What a dude.
He just killed it. He absolutely killed it. He's a great player.
This is the most fun I have doing videos this at the moment. It's so much fun. So stay tuned for the next one.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, folks.
Cheers.